Tell a friend to tell a friend. Come on, let's go, let's go. This is iconic in every single way. Huge moment. Come on, you guys, let's go. Shout out to Nomad for making this happen. And really, really, really excited, you guys. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. Come on, at least let's go for a 40 or 30. Let's go. Let's go. I know Charlie Sloth is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. So we're about to have the legend, someone who I looked up to, and this is just really remarkable in every single way. So it is exactly 10. So let's get the man of the hour right here. Inshallah. Peace, love, and I hope it works out. Let's go. Charlie Sloth. First of all, much love and respect to you, my brother. Seriously, you are. I can't believe we're having this. You're somebody. Just a quick story before we start. I got married 12 years ago, and when we first got married, when you did your show, Fire in the Booth, I watched the first episodes at 3 a.m. in the morning in Saudi Arabia while you're doing your show. And I'm going crazy, and I'm putting the volume really high. And my wife at that point was like, hey, I'm like, it's Charlie Sloth, it's Fire in the Booth. Let's go.
I know you're going to dig this.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Charlie Sloth, for your time.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, so we're going to get into it. Shout out to everybody here. Big up to Nomad for making this connection, my brother. I mean, Nomad is that platform for the community, by the community. And again, I thank them. This bridge wouldn't have happened without them. I know you're humble enough, and we've spoken before, and now this is actually happening. So peace and love. Charlie, we're gonna get to know you a little bit, ask you a few questions about your journey. And then the last kind of 15, 20 minutes, we're gonna make you hear some of the tracks from the region. I try to be as diverse as possible, so let's go. I know for a fact that your beginning involves a kitchen, a cassette rack, NWA. Is that, am I right? Or
you're right.
Tell us about.
So my mum used to be a cleaner, and she used to clean the rich folks' house in Parliament Hill. So like where I grew up was a place called Camden Town in northwest London, and there was like a real divide in terms of class. So like literally you could be 5 minutes down the road and be a working class living on a council estate, and then on the other end of town you got like 50 million pound houses. So growing up, my mother was a cleaner, and one day I wasn't at school, so I had to go to work with my mum, and she said like, sit in the kitchen, don't touch nothing, just wait for me to finish. So I'm like, cool mum, I got you, I'm gonna sit right here, I ain't gonna do nothing. I was about 7 or 8 at the time, and half an hour passed by, and me being me, Mr. Inquisitive, I started to have a little nose around, and I found this cassette. I picked it up, and there was these guys peering into the camera, big red font, and I was like, yo, what's this? I flipped it over, looked at the track list, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna borrow this tape. I'm gonna borrow it. I'm not gonna steal it. Stealing is bad, and I was too young to understand what that was, but I'm gonna borrow this tape. So I borrowed the tape, and I remember I used to have this old cassette player where like I had to get sellotape to stick the door in so I could play the cassette. Anyway, I pressed play, and I was just blown away by the stuff that I was hearing. The content just encapsulated my mind straight away. It felt like, honestly, at such a young age, it felt like I finally found somebody or something that represents me. It's bizarre, and then, I learned, obviously I didn't really understand fully what the context of the lyrics were at that age, but it was the rebellion, it was the anarchy that was lived within the music. So, within a month, I knew every single record, every single lyric back to back. I could just rap every word. And then the older kids on the estate were like, this kid's crazy. I just knew everything. And then obviously as that passion grew, like the more and more I wanted to hear and understand. And that cassette was NWA straight out of Compton, and you know, a huge part, a huge part.
Yeah. I think if I may say here, Charlie, we're going through crazy times right now, obviously with the COVID-19, and if you see what's happening in America, and it's a global thing. Quick question before we continue. Do you think it's an artist's duty to reflect the times? Like, do you separate the artist from the human as Charlie Sloth?
Like for me, like in terms of like artistry, my artistry obviously has changed a lot from when I first got into music. Like I produce music now, so my voice is somewhat restricted when it comes to the outlet of the art. But for me personally, like some of my favorite artists are artists who have, you know, really used their voice to, you know, engage and use their music as a form of social commentary and educate people on what's going on in their communities and shed a light on it. For me, that's what really got me in to hip hop and rap in the first place. And obviously music's evolved a lot and the way we consume content is changed forever. And it feels like now more than ever there really is a different flavor for each emotion, which I think is a beautiful thing, you know. Like, not all the time you want to be hearing people, you know, talking about the struggle. Sometimes you just want to have fun. So I think that
100%.
having that blend is a beautiful thing, man.
The balance. Charlie, in 2007, you launched Being Charlie Sloth, which is obviously a weekly online series, very successful. Before we talk more about it, which was your favorite character? You know, was it the artist, the manager?
It was the manager.
It
was the manager. Just because I know so many managers like that, you know, and like all of the characters that I played in that show, I tried to really make them stereotypical of their positions, you know. I just really tried to play on that, like make big generalizations about their characters. And he was just like this East End Cockney, didn't really care about the work. It was more about the accolades that came with it. And I just like he was definitely at the time the most popular character, without a doubt. People just really resonated with him because I think everybody knows somebody like that.
Would you launch this series at this point of your career again?
I mean, there's been discussions, and you know, there's loads of people that have, and TV networks and streaming providers. I mean, I never say never. I feel like that journey, because we've got all of that content and it's there, do you know what I mean? Like, we can always revisit it. And it's a great story to see where we started at in 2007 to see where we're at now in 2020. But I still feel I've got so much to do. I've got so much to do that, for me, like, it almost feels like that's something that I want to do once I've achieved some more of the milestones that I've set for myself.
No, big up. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite. This is a question that, you know, of course for the audience, but also for me personally, I want to know what went through your mind before leaving to LA. Obviously, for Being Charlie Sloth, you got contacted by a big kind of content company in the States to have a full production. You got that call, I think, a month before you joined and started on BBC. I want to know, at that point, how did you face it, and was the decision hard, with a dilemma? You go into the States, maybe a better or maybe more financially for you. What went through your mind knowing that you have this opportunity when you were faced with this decision?
Well, for me, at the time, you know, it was a difficult decision to make because I wasn't in a financially stable position. You know, I was still kind of living day by day, really and truly. But I've always been someone who's about the big picture. Rather than thinking about tomorrow or next week, I always try and think about 5 years, 10 years. Now, the Being Charlie Sloth thing, that was great, and I felt like it showed all the different hats that I wore as a person. And, you know, the fact that it got picked up by a huge American company and there was a lot of money that got thrown around, that was exciting. But at the time, I had to make a decision. And the decision was, do I A, go to LA pursue being Charlie Sloth, get a big check, and this could potentially be a huge TV show in America?
Yeah.
Or do I take the job that I've been offered by the BBC, which is a graveyard shift and pays next to nothing, but pursue and follow my initial passion? Now, for me, I had to sit there and I spent a couple of hours. I mean, it was probably a couple of days, but I made my decision in a couple of hours. And for me, you know, I started as a DJ. That's how I started. When I was 12, 13, I started spinning, and that was my first love. That was what motivated me and inspired me and give me the passion that I have for music still to this day. And I knew that with the platform of the BBC, with my passion and my drive, that I could finally fulfill my ambition of becoming who I wanted to be. And at the same time, I could help the artists, who many of them were my friends at the time, because we was coming up at the same time, with a platform that didn't exist at that time in the UK. There wasn't anyone who was just solely focusing on UK music, and people laughed at me. They was like, "You're crazy, bro. You just turned down what?" I mean, like, I won't even repeat on here what my manager at the time said to me when I said I'm not going to LA. I think he literally wanted to kill me. Like, he wanted to kill me. But for me, wow. The way I weighed it up was, I thought to myself, okay, look, this could be a 2 to 3 year career in the States with being Charlie Sloth and me being stereotyped as that guy that plays loads of different characters, no one really understanding who I am. Or I could pursue what I believe in and what I'm passionate about and what really gets me up in the morning and motivates me to be me, and have a 15 to 30 year career. Now, obviously, I feel like now I made the right decision. You know, I feel like where I am now, I can look back and reflect and be like, yo.
Again, a huge inspiration, because again, you're talking to a kid in Saudi Arabia, one of the most conservative countries in the world. You inspired me, because when I
and that means a lot, bro. Because you know what, I respect what you're doing, bro. Because I paid attention to what you're doing over there, and it's important, bro. There's people like you that break the artists out from your territory and your community and help grow this international platform, which is something that I'm super passionate about. That's my next thing, is like, this is now an international community. It's not just a North America or a European or a British. This is an international movement, and like, seeing what you're doing and how passionate you are about your community and the music that comes out of your hometown, that's a lot, bro. And like, that's why when we first spoke a few months ago, I went and checked what you're doing, and you can see the passion, you can see that you're doing it for the right reasons, and that's powerful, bro. And I respect that with my heart, bro.
Yo, bless you, my brother. I don't even know how to reply. You messed up my whole mind right now.
Nah, it's real talk, bro. It's real talk.
25th March 2010, Fire in the Booth was kind of announced, officially starting in April of that year.
Yeah.
Looking back at 10 years, Charlie, this show is iconic. I'm telling you, in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, my hometown, we were watching, and other places as well throughout the world, people were watching your videos, your passion, the way you were, you know, crazy. People, how does that make you feel?
Obviously, I'm super proud and I'm super happy to have that platform. But the thing is that I'm just a fan. So like, when people are like, why are you always shy and pressing buttons? Like, I'm a fan. When I'm in there, I'm in the studio with people that I listen to, that I care about, that I believe in. So for me, I'm like, yo, like, I'm like a kid in a candy shop, and I still am today. I still get gassed. Like, you know, I remember when I first joined the BBC, right? And the boss at the time said, so Charlie, what is it that you're going to do? What are your aspirations now you join the BBC? I said, I'm going to create the biggest freestyle platform in the world. I'm going to get 1 million views in the first month. He's like, oh, okay, well, this is a radio station. That's very good. And I was like, and I'm going to replace Westwood within 5 years. And then they laughed at me. I was like, oh, yeah, of course you are. I was like, I am. And then obviously I ended up replacing Westwood on all these shows within 3 years. God bless him, big up Westwood every time. He's a legend and an icon. And of course, Fire in the Booth went on to be the most viewed freestyle platform in the world. So, like, it's done over 1 billion views. Which, when you say that out loud, it's pretty crazy.
Man, it is. I mean, again, I want to emphasize on the point. It's monumental. When people in the Middle East, rappers, knew that I'm having you, as Fire in the Booth was kind of iconic for them watching. I want to definitely ask you more about Fire in the Booth, but would we ever see a rapper raps in Arabic on Fire in the Booth? I want to hear.
You know what? I can't say too much right now, but I'm working on something very special. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm working on something very, very special, and hopefully, once this whole global pandemic blows over and things go back to normality a bit, then yeah, we're gonna see some stuff. We're gonna see some stuff. There's a lot going on, you know what I mean? But yeah, of course, I'd love that. And
yeah,
like I said,
it would be a dream.
I'm
telling you, it will be a dream. And we'll be hearing some rappers. It will be a dream for all the people on that playlist. Charlie, at one point, because I know I faced that on my show as well. At one point in Fire in the Booth, you felt kind of challenged in a way. Because, for example, for my case, at the 5th year, I was kind of pushed aside, really. Like, I was kind of really down until I met Chuck D, and then he kind of really rejuvenated my passion again, which is crazy. For you, what was it that was there a challenge during these 10 years, and how did you face it?
There's still challenges now. I'm always still confronted by challenges. Like some people feel like some of the artists shouldn't get the support that they get, especially from a platform as big as Fire in the Booth. Some people have made mistakes in their life. I always believe in giving people a second chance. The majority of people that are doing these things don't want to be doing it, but they don't have much choice. Like, give people an opportunity, and then if they've been given an opportunity and they still do crazy stuff, then all right. But give people a chance, man. So I've had it forever. People not wanting to support the culture, people saying that it promotes violence and gangs, not really understanding how important culturally and how significant the music is for the communities. Like brushing it aside. And yeah, still to this day, there's been I'm faced with something pretty much every week, and so the new thing was joining Apple, and trying to make the North American audience understand that this is now a global brand. This is not just a British brand. Not only British people watch this brand, but this brand is watched around the world. And so, trying to make a new audience understand that was a massive challenge. And, towards the end of last year and the start of this year, before the world went crazy, when you look at the artists that were jumping on Fire in the Booth, like Griselda, Fabulous, Pop Smoke, R.I.P., Juice WRLD, R.I.P., like the list, Lil Baby, and these artists are wanting to do it. But the challenge is, like, people was like, these guys are not going to do Fire in the Booth. These guys don't freestyle, bro. Why are they going to want to do it with some fat guy from Britain? I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. And little behold,
man,
as soon as we get out of this, we'll have even more.
Yeah. No, you inspired me to ask you a question based on what you just said right now, in terms of, how important was it for big rappers like Giggs, for example, to support you as a radio host to push Fire in the Booth? I'm talking like that because, again, is it important for big rappers in their career to kind of also give back and keep pushing what Charlie Sloth has given them?
I don't ever look at it like that. I don't ever, I'm just a platform and a tool for the artist to use as a catalyst for their career or for their campaign. Like, I don't ever take credit for any greatness that any artist achieves. I just don't, I won't, and I never would. Like, that is on them. I'm just a conduit to support them, and that's it. So for me, I don't ever expect anything. I think the fact that a lot of artists support me in the way they do is probably testament to that mentality. I don't ever ask them for nothing. I'm never like, yo, well, I've done this for you. Like, never in a million years, and I never would. Like, for me, the artist always comes first. Even now, like, the artist comes first. Like, what I do is secondary, and I'm there to support the artist and put them on a pedestal to show their greatness, and that's that.
Man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, Johnny Sloth, man. Okay, I asked you about Arabic rap and Fire in the Booth. And you said something is in the works, hopefully. You know, in Arabia, Charlie, I was preparing this, playlist for you. It's such a diverse thing. I was just actually thinking about it. In MENA region, which is Middle East and North Africa, even the dialect is different. Like North Africa has a different dialect than the Middle East, like countries like Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, that have different also dialects from the GCC, countries like Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, which makes it a very diverse movement. And we have a big kind of movement. For anyone who's listening right now, who's into, of course, rapping and hip hop culture, what's the sort of advice you want to give them, knowing that you have fire in the booth, knowing that you've seen a lot of stars, knowing that you've done a lot? Do they stick to rapping in their own language? Do they stick to rapping in whatever they want to rap about? What kind of advice would you give them from someone who's seeing this from outside?
I think the first thing you gotta ask yourself, it's like any brand, right? When you're an artist in 2020, automatically you become a brand, and you have to understand that you're a brand. So the first question you always have to ask yourself is, who is your target audience? Who are you trying to make listen to your music and buy into your brand? Now, answering the question of language barriers, of course, if you want the English-speaking community from around the world to buy into your brand, then ideally you're going to have to make some music that has English language. But for me, something that's really important, and is for me, I think it's what separates people around the world and what makes all these different artists from different places great, is the fact that they incorporate their own language, their own accent, the terminologies that are used locally, because that's what excites me. I can listen to a rap record, not know exactly what they're saying. Obviously some words I'll pick up on, but that's what excites me. Like learning new stuff, how people put words together and flows together in their own language, using their own accent. It's like, even, when you look at American hip hop, the way an artist from the Dirty South can put words together compared to an artist from the East Coast, but different, because they say words differently, they can rhyme different words together. It makes it more exciting. The wordplay is interesting. So for me, I'd say, look, the most important thing is understanding who you're trying to sell to, who you're trying to market your music to and your brand to. Then once you know who that is, if you're just trying to be the biggest artist in your hood, in your ends, in your country, your city, then you need to target the people in your city and understand what's going to resonate with them. You need to be a voice for them. And then if you do, after you've done that, if you do want to target an international audience, then you look at maybe incorporating the English language or the Spanish language, but the first thing first is always, you've got to be the king of your city. You can't be the king of another city if you ain't the king of your own.
That's it. Man. Before jumping to a couple of questions from the audience, by the way, Drake came on Fire in the Booth. I know you get asked a lot about this, but for me, I want to just, how long did it take until you secured that? Because that was really also iconic, and big up to you.
Years, bro. Years. But, you know what? He's the biggest artist in the world and has been for a long time. And the thing that I love about Drake is that he cares about music. He cares about artists. A lot of people are like, he's jumping on this. No, man, he's a music man. That's it.
He's a fan. I feel
He's a fan. Yeah, he can do what he wants. No one can tell him nothing. He can do whatever he wants, and that comes across in his person. Like, he's just a good person. Like, not only is he one of the sickest artists on the planet ever, period. Like, he's a good person, and that goes a long way, man. Like, I'll wait another 5 years for another one.
How did you feel when you were watching him like do his thing, fire in the booth at that point?
It felt crazy. He was at a party. We was actually at a party together 2 weeks before that.
Wow.
And I was just bothering him. I'm like, yo, Driz, man, like, it would be iconic. He's like, yeah, I got you. Like, almost like, shut up now, Sloth. And then the night of the final booth, he was at a party, and he had just finished. He just wrapped the video, and he was at a party in central London, and I hit him. I'm like, yo, where you at? He's like, yo, I'm at the party. I was like, yo, should we go BBC and do this? It was like 2 in the. It was at this point. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. So the BBC was empty, ain't no one there, and he's like, yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna pull up. So I was like, okay. So I went to the BBC, and then it got to about 1:45, maybe about 2 o'clock maybe, and he just pulled up. Just run upstairs. We had a couple drinks, and then he just smashed it out of the park. One take, no messing about.
That's wow. That's really insane.
Yeah.
Wow, that's I can't believe it. Okay, Charlie, when we first announced Nomad announced that we're doing this, we got a lot of questions. I'm gonna ask you two right now, but most of the questions also we got was, we want to know favorite fire in the booth for Charlie Sloth, and I don't want to really ask you that because I know they're all good for you. I mean, they're all amazing, they're all iconic in a way, very special. But maybe you can tell us about, something that during that fire in the booth, it kind of also impacted you differently than others, because all of them are just incredible. Like, I was just watching Bugsy's, and I kind of teared. I don't know why. Just watching him, the words he's spitting, and there's so many. Low Key is definitely one of my favorite because he's a personal friend of mine, and it was just sick watching you. At that point, watching you shouting him out, despite of the kind of art that he used to do back in the UK, he was getting kind of resistance. And Charlie Sloth pushing Low Key was like, I blogged about it, I pushed it in Saudi Arabia. I even played that clip on my show in Saudi Arabia. It was just crazy. So maybe you can shed some light on it. Maybe you can just name a few that are dear to you.
Yeah, I mean, they're all very personal to me for different reasons, and they all attack a different emotion. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I might be feeling gassed.
Wrench 32 was also one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, like, so Wrench 32 and Avellino, that was a moment, like, even now when I listen to that, I relive the moment. Like, I get goosebumps, the hair stands up on the back of my neck. It's just like, it was one of them moments that I really believe will live forever. I think he's one of the best rappers in the world, period. I don't think there's many people on this planet that could go toe to toe with Wretch 32. I just think he's just an absolute animal. And like the Bugsy one, again, same thing. Like, he came up, I've never seen a man so focused, so determined and driven to succeed and make a success of this opportunity. He saw this as the opportunity of his life, and he treated it like that. And because he treated it like that, it changed his life forever. Like, his life was the same.
I've got hunger. There's hunger.
Yeah, the hunger was crazy. I get K-Coke. That was a fire in the booth that really shaped fire in the booth, because this was like month 1. That was the first fire in the booth to ever do 1 million views. He did it in a couple of weeks. Back then, that was crazy traffic in the UK. Like, someone to get 1 million views in a couple of weeks, people were like, whoa. Same thing. I remember him coming in and just the hunger, and like, you could see it in his eyes. I knew before I pressed record and pressed play on them records that he was gonna go crazy. I could see it in his eyes. He was focused. He reminded me of like a boxer before a heavyweight championship bout. Like, he was like just so focused, like pacing up and down the room. Yeah, but another one.
But Charlie, man, the way you also talk, bro. Like, I don't rap, but man, I don't know what I'll do in front of you. Like, there's a lot of passion, and I love that. I think I heard you talk about that. It's like you transform to another person, and that's what I love about you, bro. Like it's just really. I mean, I can sit 3 hours talking to you how amazing you are. All right, Charlie, I got a couple of questions from the audience here, and then I believe you have the playlist, and this is a very important part for me. This is actually a question that came from the UK. Shout out to Ken's. We wanted to take at least a couple of questions from the UK. He's asking, the phrase work hard has always been said to people on the come up, but I've witnessed people who have done music for fun and just popped off. There's no formula, of course, but what do you do if you constantly feel as if you're working hard but nothing is coming out of it?
For me, it just means you're not working hard enough, and that's it. Like, I believe if you put it in, you're gonna get it out. And you know, there's a great meme that I just love it. Every time I see it, I'm just like, yes, like that sums up success in a nut. So basically, there's a picture, and on the top half of the screen, there's a guy who has basically got all the jewels and stuff, but not all of it. He got a small pot of the jewels, and at the bottom, and he's only dug for like maybe an hour. You know, you can see the wall is thin. And on the bottom screen, there's this guy. He looks like he's been digging for 10 years, and he's one swipe away from getting the jackpot, but he gives up. You see, he's turned his back. He's one swipe away from hitting the jackpot, but because he's been going for like 10 years and it hasn't happened, he's like, forget this, I'm done, and turns his back on it. So hard work, consistency, and perseverance, like those three things, if you have those three things, you can do anything. Like when I started this journey, people used to laugh at me, like literally in my face. Like no shame, they were like, you're crazy, mate. Well, you think you're going to be able to do this? I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. All right, mate. Like it was like, okay, Sloth, like a little pat on the shoulder. Okay, buddy. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, like, hard work is important, man.
Charlie, that's why I personally relate to you and anyone who knows me here. Believe me, I got called an infidel, for example, in Saudi Arabia, because I'm getting a culture outside, you know, the country. Eventually, these people that were kind of attacking me are now saying, thank you for changing my mind about hip hop and hip hop culture, and which was really beautiful. So great answer right there. Another question is from Ahmed Hakim, also known as KC Hamada. He's an Iranian, Iraqi rapper based here. He's saying, with examples of the UK drill sound being produced and embraced by artists and audiences in recent times, especially living in such a global world with the internet, everyone is somehow sharing sounds beyond borders. At what point would someone draw the line between inspiration and appropriation?
That's a good question. You know what? I think that's a very thin line anyway. It's a very thin line anyway. But I think that's what makes the world a beautiful place. I think the fact that we're able to draw from each other's cultures and each other's inspirations and reflect the art through our eyes. You know, I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, a lot of people will disagree with me, but I do feel that it's a very thin line, and if it's treading the right way, with the right integrity and the right respect, then I do think it's a beautiful thing.
You know, Charlie, in Islam, our Quran, actually, there's a verse in the Quran that says somehow, you know, we've made you different cultures so that you can get to know each other and learn from each other cultures. It's actually a verse,
and that's important. Like we can't be better people unless we can understand each other. That's what I believe, and I think like even the stuff that's going on in the world today, I think because there's so much segregation and there's so much fear, you know, whether it be race, class, regardless, religion, like there's so much segregation, and within that segregation, you know, for whatever reason, fear is bred, and that prevents us from being complete as human beings. Human beings. Like that's the important word in that. We are human beings, and how we carry ourselves and how we treat each other determines how good we are at being human beings.
Man, I just want to salute you, Charlie. I want to take this opportunity to talk about something that's not related to hip hop real quickly. I want to use this platform. My son is autistic. Autism is not a disease; it's a way of life. It's a way of understanding. I've always said that, and he's my hero. And I want to take this opportunity, being on an amazing platform like yours, to say, you know, that he changed my life. Obviously, and he's my hero. But it's not a disease. It's just a different way of thinking. And I just hope people don't judge, especially when it comes to autism parents. So it's just a public service announcement.
My sister has actually just opened a school for autistic children. Her son, her son's autistic, and she was so passionate about the education system and how she felt that her son was mistreated for being autistic, that she actually left her job and has used her own money to set up a school for autistic children.
This is a hero, because a lot of people would take that, and I know it has nothing to do with music, what we're talking about right now, but we're human before we become radio hosts, Saudis, British.
Exactly.
You're a human first. So he's actually the guy, Ahmed, my son, he's turning off the lights somehow here. So actually, Ahmed, come through. Ahmed, hey. Okay, he went through. Anyway.